What's up, guys? Glad you made it. So I'm just doing a little tutorial on how to do a really simple, really affordable DIY flow hood. This is the exact same idea as the Gordotech flow hood, so if you want to reference anything, you can always just go to YouTube and type in Gordotech, that's Gordotech flow hood, and it'll show you the exact same thing. The only difference is my flow hood's quite a bit bigger, gives you quite a bit more space. Yeah, so for the grow along, I'm going to be using one of these also just to show everybody that these things work. They're just as effective as a lab grade or professionally built flow hood, right? These things are awesome. They're light, easy to move around. I love them. So with that said, let's get started on what you need. So first off, you need a 32-gallon Sterilite bin like this. It's also a 21-liter Sterilite bin. Is it 21 liter?
I'm not sure.
Anyways, whatever. It's the, he's checking right now. It's 32 gallons, I know that. Anyways, I think that the liters would probably be more if it's 32 gallons. So yeah, I mixed up somewhere, but 32-gallon Sterilite bin. You're going to need a drill with a bit. You're going to need an 8-inch AC Infinity fan just like this. And I'm going to leave links so that you guys can click on it and go to Amazon. Really easy to snatch this stuff up. Like 150 bucks overall. You're going to need silicone so that you can seal the actual filter. You're going to need a filter. The bin, obviously, silicone. I'm going to be using a grinder to cut this out. If you guys don't have a grinder or some sort of a Dremel tool, and I'll use the Dremel tool to cut out where the fan goes. But if you guys don't have any of this, you can use, if you want to take your time and just saw it, or even a hot knife, like a hot butter knife with a torch, you can heat it up and it cuts right through it. Just be careful, don't hurt yourself. So, yeah, with that said, first off, what you're going to do is from the inside of this lip right here, because this side is going to be facing out, you're going to measure the distance from there to there. Not from the outside. That's important because when you push this in from the inside, you want the walls to be able to hold it. So you're going to measure from here to here, and I'm not going to measure that. Well, I'll show you. Your tape measure might be a little bit different, so don't go off these numbers. Make sure you have a tape measure, and it's exactly 18 inches. So I'm going to measure from this little thin line. There's a thin line that's already on the box. From there, I'm going to measure 18 inches across. And from there, I'm going to measure 15.5 inches up. Now, I'm not going to be wearing glasses. I'm not telling you that you have to, but you should probably wear some glasses, okay? Alright guys, so when you're done cutting it, on the edge of where you cut it, you're going to get all these burrs. Now you can use a piece of sandpaper or whatever you want to make sure that you remove them, but they need to be removed. Not so much on the outside because I have a stainless screen that's going to go over it to protect the filter. But on the inside where the filter fits, you definitely want those cleaned up. And I'm just going to use this Dremel tool. But feel free to use whatever you'd like, whatever you think would work best. Make sure you don't hurt yourself or wear yourself out though. Shouldn't take too long or be too difficult. All right, so make sure you empty this out. You don't want any of that stuff in there once we seal this thing up. So you're gonna get those particles sticking to the filter. You want everything running as smoothly as possible. Okay? So next step, along the bottom, we are going to be installing our fan, okay? Now, 1 second. Had to cough. Woo! Okay. Now with this bit, I'm not sure the exact size. I've already went and drilled. So from the back end, when you see the electrical components, on the side where if I was to drill this through, it's not going to interfere with anything, that's where you want to put it, pretty much right in line with the A. About 1/2 inch apart. Doesn't need to be perfect. All you need to know is that this bolt, whatever bolt you use, is going to be able to fit in to the hole that you drill. Also, you're going to need a washer and a nut to go on there so that you can tighten it, okay? So, with that said, the next step will be to install the fan. Oops. So you're going to take a marker. Probably don't want to use a black marker like I did because the bin is black, but hang on. So we're going to start. The thing you're going to need is your drill with the bit. And right here where the A is, as you can see, if I was to drill through here, I'm away from all the electrical components. I'm not damaging anything. Right there where the A is, 2 holes about 1/2 inch apart. It doesn't matter what size they are, as long as your bolt is going to be able to screw into there. And you also are going to need a nut and a washer so that you can tighten it to the bin, to your flow hood. Okay? So, first thing, we're going to want it on the bottom in the back. Unlike Gordo's, which is on the side, but as you see, this is beveled on this one, so we want it in the back. Right there on that 2-inch line again, you take a marker, preferably not black like me, especially with this crappy lighting, but I'll make it work. Also, this bin is black, so I'm going to outline right around the AC Infinity duct fan. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now, we gotta cut some more. Where is
Down there.
there?
And go.
So now we're cutting I was going to use my little Dremel tool, that's what I used last time, but I've always had this thing and I didn't even think to make my last one that I built with this, but it cut through this thing like nothing, so I think I'm going to just use this to cut out. Now this one doesn't need to be as cleaned up because the clean air isn't coming out of here. Dirty air is going in. Obviously you don't want huge spaces because we want to make it as airtight as possible still. But with these fans, literally you're only going to turn it up 75% and that's going to give you enough CFU, which is cubic feet per CFS, cubic feet per second, to push laminar flow out of this thing easily. Turning it up all the way is too much. So I'm thinking probably 400 CFM is what pushes through this size of flow hood, which is 16 by 18. So it's a good sized little flow hood. And also guys, if you can find a bin that is one of those ones that slides under the bed, right? But it's big enough to house one of these, you can use those too so that it's a lot smaller. You can even hang it on the wall or do something. This is what I had access to, so this is what I'm using. And I don't really mind having these bigger ones because as I work, I like to put stuff on the top. Just because I get lazy and I've got lots of room, so there's that. Now we're going to take our fan. And just like magic, there we go. This is going to fit right on that outside lip of the fan that's right here. So right there. Once again, I'm going to take this drill now I have markers for where I'm going to drill through the top of the box so that I can mount this in there. Okay. All right, guys, continuing where we left off. So I had drilled holes from the same markings on the fan that I drilled in the beginning, from inside the fan while it was inside of here, so that I know where to put my bolts and bolt this to the bottom of this tub. Pretty self-explanatory. maybe drill that out a little bit wider. There we go. And I'll be going over how to work in front of a flow hood properly too during the course. That's really important. Just because you have a flow hood does not mean that you're staying sterile. It's important that you develop the muscle memory needed so that you can just do it naturally. Work in front of a flow hood, that is. Just like learning how to do anything, learning an instrument or whatever, same type of stuff. The more you do it, the better at it you get. Let's see, where is that? There it is. And you just fit those. And this might take a little bit of moving around and tweaking it to get it right where you want it. Once you get them both in there, both the bolts, you can screw the nut on. And that'll hold it into place so you can wiggle it into position. Okay. Perfect. So, now this thing is in there. Easy enough, right? And here's another thing that we're going to do. Because you're going to want everything sealed, even underneath the lid where it clamps on. I just take tape and tape around it, just Scotch tape. So that way if you want to take anything out or clean it, it's easy. You just take it off and then replace it. But what you want to do is you want to have a gap cut out right here for this cord so that when you put the lid on, it's not lifting up and it just fits right through there. Just like that. Is that going to be enough for the lid? Maybe take it down just a little bit more. Woohoo! Yeah, that's enough. Sweet. So what we'll do now, screw these all the way in. Tighten them down. Okay. We're going to flip this around. Probably set this in here for now. HEPA filter on Amazon. All right. So looks about perfect. So I'll just come over here. Don't do that though. You don't want this thing damaged. Now with my tube of silicone, set that right there. I'm going to go around the inside of this. From the inside, make sure it's sealing it all the way around. There we go. Now we'll let that sit and dry for a little bit. And then in the meantime, we can come right over here and get this fan sealed in as well. You definitely want to use a tube or more on these. So then we'll come back, after this is dried a little bit, we'll test her out and then we'll put our screen on the front. Okay guys, so after I let everything dry, the filter and the fan over here, so what I did is I got this metal screen to go over the front of it. These things are pretty important. They're not necessary. They keep your filter clean. You don't want substrate when you're making tubs or bags in front of it, or agar splashing on your filter, because it'll become a vector for contamination, and that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing here. And I'll go ahead and clean all of this off here before I use it. Make it look nice and pretty. And I also, when I put the lid back on, I put this Scotch tape over the little gap where the lid connects to the actual tub to keep it airtight. And I think that she's probably ready to go. So what I like to do, this is usually about perfect for laminar flow. I like it about 75%. 75% seems to do it. It's just a light hum. Now you want your flame to tip at a 45-degree angle and be steady. You don't want it flickering. So let's go ahead and try. Wow. Yeah, really nice. See, I can move it back. I'm still getting clean air all the way out to here. I'm not seeing any spots that are giving me turbulence. Now, is what you can do is you can take a couple of agar plates, lay them across the bottom here. You want to raise it up just a little bit, and take the lids off and let them sit for 5 minutes, close them back up, come back and check them in about 3 days, and they should still be clean. And if you get one mold spore landing on a plate, that doesn't mean that it's not working either. I mean, letting a plate sit there in one spot for 5 minutes, there is. So 99.97% clean. That's what it's pulling from the air. So there, every now and then a particle does get through, even on the, even with the best hoods. So, but yeah, this will work just as good as any lab grade or self-proclaimed professionally built hood. You'll work all the way back here safely. Let's see, even further back. Yep. I'm way back here. Nice. Hell yeah. Hope this helps you guys. If you didn't have a flow hood, I'm going to leave the links in the description so you guys can just click on them and buy it if you need. And with that said, super stoked to keep this thing moving along. Much love, guys.